Hi Columbia team, it's Rich, just here giving you some stuff with proams. It's exciting times. Proams is a really fun tournament. It's a great way for novices to get to learn from varsity members, and a really good way for varsity members to win lots of rounds. I always thought rounds at proams were, I don't want to say easier than other rounds, but I certainly did better at them. And I did better at them for, I think, a few reasons that I think you guys can do that will help you guys out. I'm going to move this webcam because I don't think you're getting a good picture of me. So, first of all, proams is easier because each team has a weak link, namely the novice. The golden rule at proams is the other guy's novice gets to 4. It doesn't matter what you do, how you act, if the other guy's novice gets to 4, you're, 1, not only probably going to win, but 2, you're likely to be put in a good situation if that's the strategy that you're doing. So, likely novices are going to be giving member speeches. So that means doing things like if you're LOing, setting up clear burdens that the MG has to do in order to win the round, and saying them explicitly in LOC. Oh, and overloading partners, other stuff like that. So, like, if your partner is, if the novice is the MG, or if you're MGing and your novice, the novice is an MO, give them lots of responses. Make it very clear. The MO has to do this, otherwise they can't win because of this. Make it very clear that the round has to hinge upon the novice, and you'll be in a better position because, I mean, let's be honest, novices probably aren't that good at debate. Y'all can do it. As for other stuff, varsity members, don't put too much pressure on yourselves. First of all, Columbia novices are awesome. Yay. But second of all, and more importantly, that's the #1 way that you're going to be in trouble. Proams at the end of the day is a regular tournament. You're going to run your regular cases, treat the rounds just like that. Maybe you give the novices a little extra MG prep, but that's about it. As long as you are doing that, as long as you treat it so that you're worrying about beating the novice on the other side and making sure that no matter what happens, the varsity cannot do what needs to be done, you're good. There are a couple of ways that rounds can go poorly at proams. The first is a lead fest. So what that means is there's a good PMC, good LOC, and the middle drops out. Members, this is where your job comes in. It's very clear that you do a good job setting up burdens and making sure that you're exactly clear what's going on and exactly clear where the round is going to go. Otherwise, the round can get away from you and just becomes a battle of who can give a better rebuttal speech, which oftentimes goes to op and get problematic if you're a dub. The other thing that I would say is that on op, it is very, very, very important that your partner, especially if you're the varsity member, your partner knows exactly what's going on in the round. So you don't want to just move away from POCs. This is a tournament where POCs are your friends. You should go for them and ask lots of them for a couple of reasons. So first, it's very clear that oftentimes some novices don't know the cases that they're running, so if a novice is PMing, right, they can answer POCs wrong, it gets them in trouble, other stuff like that. But second of all, if you're on op and you and your partner have no idea what to do, or if your partner, the novice, has no idea what the case is about, especially if they're running some like technical econ or something, they're not going to be as good as, say, any other system where they're not doing that. So that's another thing that you want to stay up for and make sure that you're on track with. But finally, what I would say is just like general proams advice before I get into like strategy and other things like that, is that at the end of the day, this is a tournament where you're supposed to be having fun. This is a great learning opportunity for a lot of different people. It's a good chance for you guys to be put in a position to learn some stuff, to be able to do things that are cool, and it's a lot of fun. Plus, it's a great learning experience for novices. I mean, you guys get to work with really good cases. The varsity members of the Columbia team are awesome. You're going to be in really good rounds with really good debaters, get great feedback, all that jazz. Strategy stuff time now. I always double lead. So I double lead at proams. For you novices who don't know, double leading is LO and is PM and LO. My philosophy on this is a couple things. So the first one is that I always wanted to give rebuttal speeches, and I would like tell other varsity members that they should give their rebuttal speech. Rebuttal speeches are the hardest kinds of speeches to give, and they're the ones that ultimately win you the round. So I thought it was always, and I still do think it's always very important, and when in doubt, your partner should LO. Now there's a couple of reasons this wouldn't be done. So I know there are people out there not looking at anybody, Adele, who are very afraid of LOing or who feel like their LOCs are far worse than their MOs. If that's the case, this partner should MO. Reason being, You want the best one on your team as possible. So if you're a far better LO than MO, or vice versa, you want to be giving that speech, and then your partner can give the other one. Now, if you're opping and you're novice is LOing, MO, you still have to do argument generation. You can't just sit there and wait for your partner to do it. That means a couple of things. It means write ops down. It means make sure that you're in your partner's ear from the second case starts, identifying clash and looking at assumptions and other stuff that we talked about last year that we haven't gotten to yet. You want to make sure that you are doing this because your partners aren't going to be able to do that, but you still need to do the same sort of thing because you're hitting varsity level cases. So you want to make sure that you're identifying where the assumption in ops case is, that you're identifying what do you have to do to win. And those are things that's the reason I like giving LOCs, especially when I had a weaker partner, because I didn't have to worry about that, but you still have to do that as the MO. You just also get to give the 8-minute speech that wins off the round, so that's cool too. On Gov, again, I always PM, but I think at proams it's so important to PM. You don't want to run anything tricky. Cases like extradition I don't think are the way to go at this tournament because they rely on brilliant MGs, and unless you're going to give a brilliant MG, they're not exactly the best way to do it. But for this tournament, play to your strengths. Proams is the time where I brought out the technical IR, where I would go and play the cases that I really like to run with, and the cases where I had my blocks, we were set, I was the most confident on, and I knew I could win the round in PMR either way. Those are the kinds of cases you want to run at Pro-Ams. Not just tight, but the cases that you think you have the best shot at winning on. Those are the ones that I would stick with. As for general stuff, other things besides that, let's see. I thought I had more thoughts on Pro-Ams besides this. Novices, be okay to check with your varsity. If you guys lose, it's your varsity's fault. If you win, it's clearly the novice's fault. The biggest piece of advice, and any varsity member has done this before, make the other guy's novice get the 4. Every team has a weak link. That means that they need to do it. Other rules for Pro-Ams that I just thought of, never take a POI from the varsity. Always take the POIs from the novice. Make the novice stand up and ask a POI. Even if it's the same question, they won't ask it as well. Some people, I'm not going to say names, but certain members of the Brandeis team wouldn't let their novices ask POCs for fear of asking a bad one, as if they could trick off and jump into doing something stupid. Don't worry about that. Just ask POCs. Treat it like a regular debate tournament. Go learn. Go have fun. I want to hear great things from you guys from AU. Hearts.